Hi, I'm Matt with Main Street Medina. Won't you join us today for another episode of Medina Minute, where we'll sit down and talk with some friends and familiar faces of the community and learn a little bit more about the people that make Medina, Medina. Courtney Davis from Social330. Courtney, thank you so much for joining me and sitting down in Medina Minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
First question, so is it Social330 or Social330?
We say Social330.
Okay.
I mean, it is technically a 0, but I guess that's just preference. But you're saying it right, Social330.
Okay, cool, thank you. Tell me a little bit about the business. This is, for many people, it's this baffling world of social media.
Yeah.
So what do you do? What is a social media company? What do you do over there?
So we work primarily with small business owners.
Okay.
And what we have found is small business owners wear many hats. They're constantly juggling 20 things at one time.
Yeah.
And social media is one of those things that they know is important. They know their customers are there. They know they have to be on it, but they're like, you know, crap, I forgot to post. Or they're doing really good one month and they're posting a lot, and then the very next month they hadn't posted at all, right? Something we know that they need to be doing, but they just don't quite seem to have enough time to do it.
Sure.
So that's what we do. We kind of become the voice of the small business owner.
Okay.
We have a graphic designer, so we create all of our content ourselves, and then we're posting on their behalf.
How important to business today is social media?
Social media is primarily another search engine.
Okay.
I mean, just as much as, you know, consumers are searching on Google of, you know, bakery near me or this service near me,
yeah,
they're just as much asking those recommendations on social media. So, you know, just as important as a website, a Google listing, you've got to be active on social media too.
And when we say social media, again, I'm of a different generation, so I grew up, you know, before this whole thing. So there's, I think Facebook is probably the most well-known, and then there's Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok. Do we throw in things like LinkedIn and Constant Contact? So anything electronic communication-wise.
Right.
That's exhausting.
It is.
I mean, it's no wonder companies come to you and say, Courtney, help, I have a business to run, because it could be literally a full-time job for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did you get into this?
So I've been in marketing and sales roles in the past, and I was talking to a lot of small business owners. And in the past, there were different packages that were just kind of like a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah.
And small business owners didn't have the budget for it, or, you know, they didn't need something that a larger company would need. They just needed some posts, and they just needed some engagement and interaction. Yeah. And so I kind of kept, you know, being told by all these small business owners, we need something that's customizable. Maybe our audience isn't on LinkedIn, or maybe, you know, they are on LinkedIn. And so really I just kind of saw a need after talking to small business owners for a while and said, I want to create something that's going to work for them. Yeah.
Were you a techie growing up? Like, were you a video gamer, or how did you get into marketing and social media stuff?
More of a hobbyist than I would consider, you know. I had a camera in my hand from a young age, so I always was just, you know, I liked the photography. I've always liked, you know, a little bit of the design work. And then, you know, computers and all those expensive electronics have always been a thing. I wouldn't consider myself a techie by any means, but I've always liked it. Yeah.
Very cool. How did you end up with the company in Medina?
So I was actually working up here in the area. My husband and I just moved here a little over 2 years ago. He had been working in Cleveland for a while, and we just kind of honestly picked Medina off the map.
Really?
I mean, it looked like a great community. I was working up here and kind of working around the square.
Yeah.
I always had great conversations every time I was here. Good school district. I had kids getting ready to enter the school system.
All right.
And we just picked it off the map, saying, you know what, it's going to be a lot closer to where we work.
Yeah.
And after being in the area, it was only a couple months after that I saw this need and opened up Social330.
All right. What is it that you love about this town? And it's something that we hear a lot, like, oh, I just love Medina. Can you quantify that?
I mean, it really is, I think, the relationships that you build. We still have bigger towns that aren't far. So
Yeah.
you have everything that you need still within a 20-30 minute drive.
Okay.
But being in from a smaller town or being here specifically, you're able to actually build a relationship with Kim at Honey Bakery, or just everybody here around the square. It's like you can go in and people can actually remember your name.
True.
And a lot of small business owners and things like that. So I personally love that.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite building on this square? Something when you come into work every morning, other than your office?
Right. I'm
Because your
partial.
office has a pretty sweet view.
I am pretty partial to my office. I love our big window there to look over the square. But honestly, I've always loved the Huntington Bank building.
Yeah.
I don't, there's just been something about that. But there's a lot of really cool ones. I love Lemonberry. It's very colorful.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a fun one.
How old are your kids now?
So I have 2 boys.
Okay.
They're 5 and 7.
How do they like living in a small town? I don't know if it's fair to say a small town. We'll say a smaller town.
Yeah.
Because we have more than one stoplight.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. And I came from a town that was smaller than this.
Okay.
So to us, it's not so small.
Yeah.
They love it. They love everything.
Yeah.
We live in a great development. They have best friends right down the street.
Cool.
They love school. They love the activities that Medina has. I mean, we jumped right in when we moved here of anything we could do. We were just out in the community.
Yeah.
And we did it. We've only lived here for 2.5 years, but we feel like this is more home than anywhere we've lived.
Do the boys like coming up the square and going in the stores or getting ice cream or stuff?
Oh, yeah. Ice cream, donuts. Yeah,
Cool.
This is their favorite.
Very cool. Do you think when your kids grow up, I think kind of living in a smaller town, you can teach them about relationships and community. Is that something that you're trying to impart in them now, and they'll take that into their life with them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely different. I've traveled a lot, been to bigger cities. I've got a lot of family members that live in bigger cities. But there's something about relationship building that comes from a smaller town.
Sure.
That I definitely want to instill in them.
Yeah. What's your favorite place you visited?
Well, like by traveling?
Yeah.
I'm partial to Denver.
Okay.
I've got family out there, and there's anything outdoors you can do out there. But I also love warm weather, so
Okay.
Florida, Sanibel, Anna Maria.
Yeah. What's your dream trip? If someone said, Courtney, we'll watch the kids for a couple weeks. You and your husband go. Here's the checkbook, or here's the credit card, I guess, or here's the Bitcoin, whatever would fit in your world. What's your dream vacation?
I want to do one of those bungalows, the overwater bungalows.
Really?
Yeah. I don't even care where it's at. Just give me clear water, sun in the sky, an overwater bungalow, and I'm there.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. What do you do in your downtime, or are you it's a hard question. Are you addicted to social media, or do you actually get to say, you know what, that's work, this is Courtney time? What do you do in that Courtney time if you have it?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. When I was first starting, I was really in the hustle and the grind, and so I felt like I was on it all the time, both work and personal. And now that I've got a team with me and I can really kind of clock out for a few hours out of the day, I love to just put my phone down. Personal captures on social media aren't as important to me anymore, mainly because I'm on it for so many hours a day on the business side of it that I like to step away from it. I still use it. Truthfully, I use it to follow all my local businesses and kind of keep up and things like that. So I still certainly use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it's away from work, I like to kind of put the phone down.
It's kind of interesting to me. It's social media, but is it really social? I sometimes feel like social media has replaced social interaction, where we're all guilty. We'll go to a concert and we're filming the darn thing or taking a picture rather than being in the moment.
Yeah.
How does that experience affect people? Or it's such a weird mix to me. It's social media, but it's not really social because you're on this.
Right. I mean, and I've read a lot of reports, and there's a lot of research out there about that. I've heard I remember actually doing a training for a travel agency, and one of the training things was saying that they did this research that there was actually a generation that picked where they were going to travel based on how Instagram worthy
I remember you telling me
their
that.
photos would be, and crazy stuff like that.
I thought about that for a good week.
Yeah, it's interesting. The more like wall murals that you have or something that you can, take pictures in front of to really capture that you were there can make a difference. So, there's just, there's things about it that I certainly agree. And I am in this world, so I think we kind of all can have a love-hate relationship with it sometimes.
Right.
But yeah, I certainly hope it never fully replaces interaction. I just love it really more for like the business side of it and what it is able to do for small business owners.
And that makes complete sense. But you're right. When you told me that about people choosing their wedding location because of how Instagrammable,
Instagram worthy.
Instagram worthy.
Yeah.
It's not even so much about the marriage and the love and the relationship. It's like, what can we show people?
Yeah.
Baffles me. Growing up, I grew up at the birth of computers. We were learning code, and it didn't make sense to me at all. So I'm glad that it's kind of been dumbed down for non-tech people.
Yeah.
What do you think is next? Is it virtual media, or what's, in your vision, what's after social media? What's the next thing that might come along and literally change our culture and society?
I think virtual media is probably on the horizon. You've got Clubhouse now that's, out there, which is a lot of like virtually meeting and actually joining kind of, like online video calls.
Yeah.
So I certainly think that's out there. I also think there's just a lot of movement of people saying that we don't want this to replace human interaction. So I think that there's just ways of, 2020 changed the landscape for a long time, everything. But I think you're going to see more people of actually just joining groups to have that interaction online, whether it be Clubhouse or Facebook groups or something like that. I think it's really just leaning towards ways that people can still connect, using it virtually, whether it's through a social media platform or some, video source, but still finding ways to actually have those really meaningful relationships.
Yeah, I think that's so important. How do you explain, your kids aren't quite old enough yet. Are you going to be one of those moms that says you get 15 minutes of phone time and that's it?
That's a good question. I don't know.
It's like, do what I say and not what I do.
Right, exactly. I don't know. Honestly, I certainly haven't quite approached that yet, but it is one of those things that I see the good, bad, the ugly, the love, the hate for it all with my job. So I know that there will have to be some guidelines in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is your husband a big tech guy and social media guy? Or is he kind of your balance on the other side?
He's a little bit more of my balance for sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider him to be a techie. He has, really helped me a lot with this business from day one, a lot on the back end. So he knows about what we do. He, he's helped create posts. He's done a little bit of it all too.
Yeah.
But yeah, he uses his, social media accounts really to like and help engage in our clients. His posts personally, I think, are under 5. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about your team. You have, so it's yourself and a staff of 2 more, 3 more?
Yeah, so we do have 1 freelance, and so if you're including her, then there would be 3 others.
Okay.
But we do have 2 full-time staff members that are in the office with me daily.
Yeah.
And Casey is really our client service manager, so she handles everything client relations. Anybody that's coming in as a new client or our existing clients, she's really kind of the first go-to person. That's there to help with all of that. And then we have Cassidy, who is our graphic designer.
Okay.
And so Cassidy is there for content creation, for social media, but then also design work with like logos or, basic website needs, that sort of thing.
What's the most joy that you get out of your job? Like, what gives you the greatest satisfaction?
So this is a continuous thing. When we hit certain design projects and we've really just nailed it, like when we've created that logo and we send it over and it's the first time that a new business has seen their logo and they're like, oh my gosh, I love it, don't change a thing.
Cool.
We really feel like that. But the other thing is, we have access to our clients' social media accounts in order to post for them.
Sure.
And when we see messages come in consistently of asking for that quote for that paint job, or, hey, you made this for me and it turned out amazing.
Okay.
And we see that what we're doing because of the post that we're doing is actually gaining that small business, more business, future clients, positive reviews.
Yeah.
That's a continuous satisfaction for us.
So your background, do you consider yourself a writer? Like, I'm trying to figure out, how do you sit down with social media and you have to be so creative because you own your business, but you don't own like this
Right.
business, but you have to essentially be of the mind of that business.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
It's hard.
Because I mean, you're representing them. It's not the business owner. It's you.
Right. Absolutely. And that, truthfully, I think is really kind of what sets us apart, mainly because we really do everything we can to dive into that business.
Yeah.
So every piece of literature, whether it be online, their flyers, their website, their menu, whatever it is, we want to know every detail about it.
Sure.
So we dive in, but then we also have questions and forms that we specifically have for our clients that are really asked in a way that when we get those answers, we're able to kind of see, okay, what kind of tone do they have? What kind of voice do they have with their clients? And then we just embody that in every post that we do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Is there one major social media error that people should not do? Like, do you have one tip that you want to impart to people?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
don't post this or don't do this.
Oh my gosh.
Or is it don't answer these quiz things that give away all your passwords, but it really ends up being like your first candy, whatever, something or other.
You know what? I'm going to have to go with that. I still see so much of that. And I just think, how is this still a thing? Why are people still taking these quizzes that, say what your future child's going to look like or something, just
Well,
these
there's
random,
that.
there's these random quizzes that you do. Yeah, don't do those. Just don't.
Just don't. And
Just
if you do,
skip-
don't share them.
Right. Don't do them. Don't share them. Don't send out messages with video links. Don't click on messages with video links.
Yeah.
Security really does have to be top. I mean, if you watch social media and the news at all,
Every
we
day
have
it's
to be
everywhere.
safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Courtney, thank you so much. It's been a
Yeah,
pleasure learning a little bit
absolutely.
more about you and the business, and
Yeah,
we look
thank
forward
you.
to seeing you and the crew around the square.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Matt.